With love for your legs, for your life, there's something sacred about a good night's sleep. But for too many seniors, that peace is shattered by sudden, sharp, twisting pain. A leg cramp that feels like your body is turning against you. But here's what I want you to remember. Your body is not broken. It is signaling. It is asking for help. And tonight, we give it the help it needs. This is not about avoiding discomfort, building strength, resilience, and rest from the inside out. Through the power of food, through the genius of the human nervous system, and through choices made with love, not fear. Let's walk. Let's stand strong on a journey through 10 powerful foods that prevent legcramps in seniors, even at night. Your muscles are constantly in conversation with your brain, a subtle, ongoing dialogue of contraction and release, readiness and rest. But when magnesium is deficient, that conversation turns chaotic, signals misfire, muscles spasm, and what should be a silent whisper of movement becomes a scream in the dark. Sudden cramps that wake you from sleep and rob your body of peace. Magnesium is not just a mineral, it's a regulator of communication within your nervous system. It controls over 300 biochemical reactions, many of which are directly tied to muscle and nerve function.
When you don't have
enough, your calcium channels stay open too long, leading to overstimulation of your nerves. That overstimulation floods your muscles with signals to contract and never release. That's when cramping happens. That's when your leg seize up, tight and trembling, pleading for balance that magnesium was meant to provide. And here's the hopeful truth: the fix is simple, natural, and within reach. Leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, seeds like pumpkin and sunflower, nuts like almonds and cashews, avocados, black beans, and even dark chocolate. These foods are rich in magnesium. They aren't exotic. They aren't complicated. They're comfort food your neuromuscular system. They enter your bloodstream, quiet your overactive neurons, and gently remind your muscles to let go. Magnesium also supports GABA activity in the brain, a neurotransmitter that slows neural activity and helps you fall into deep restorative sleep. How do we? That means magnesium isn't just preventing the cramps that jolt you awake. It's laying the neurological foundation for peaceful, unbroken rest. It's turning down the voltage in your body. How do we? Reducing inflammation and allowing repair to happen not only in your legs, but throughout your system. Even more importantly, as we age, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing magnesium, especially when combined with medications like diuretics or proton pump inhibitors. That means many seniors are silently magnesium deficient without realizing it. The symptoms may show up in ways that seem unrelating: fatigue, muscle twitches, anxiety, even irregular heartbeat. How do we? But beneath the surface, a lack of magnesium is disturbing the harmony of your physiology, making your muscles tense and more likely to cramp. And so replenishment becomes a necessity, not a luxury. Potassium is often spotlighted in conversations about athletes and performance, but the truth is, it may be even more essential for those in the later chapter of life. As we age, the body's internal balance becomes more fragile, and potassium acts as one of the key guardians of that balance. It plays a vital role in nerve conduction, muscle contraction, and fluid regulation, all of which become more vulnerable with time. When potassium levels drop, even slightly, the effects are felt immediately. Muscles become irritable, nerves miscommunicate, and the risk of painful leg cramps skyrockets, especially at night when the body is meant to recover, not recool. Potassium is the quiet conductor of your body's electrical orchestra. It lives inside every cell, maintaining the precise row of sodium and potassium that's required to fire a nerve impulse, trigger a muscle to contract, and then, just as importantly, to let that muscle relax. Without enough potassium, the electrical impulses that travel from your brain to your muscles become distorted like static in a radio signal. Your muscle doesn't know whether to tighten or loosen, so it locks up, and you feel it as the intense, involuntary contraction that we call a cramp. And for seniors, if that cramp is more than disruption of healing, every time sleep is interrupted by a sudden leg spasm, the body loses valuable minutes of deep sleep, the kind required for memory consolidation, hormone balance, and tissue repair. It becomes a cycle of tension. Low potassium leads to cramps. Cramps lead to poor sleep. Poor sleep leads to more inflammation, which increases the risk of cramping again. That's why potassium-rich foods aren't just a nutritional suggestion. They are a nightly shield. Bananas, of course, are a classic source, but there's a whole garden of options beyond the obvious. Sweet potatoes offer a dense, delicious dose of potassium and fiber. Beans and lentils fuel both the nervous system and the gut. Beet greens, spinach, and Swiss chard deliver potassium with the bonus of magnesium and phytonutrients that reduce inflammation. Even yogurt and coconut water offer a gentle, hydrating way to restore electrolyte levels, especially when consumed in the evening as part of a calming pre-sleep ritual. The aging body is still an adaptive body. It is still a learning, healing, thriving machine. And potassium is one of the key levers you can pull to keep that machine running smoothly. When you feed your cells with the right minerals, you are restoring precision in your physiology. You are fine-tuning the way your muscles receive instructions from your brain. You are making sleep safer, deeper, more nourishing. You are telling your body in every bite that it is supported, that it is still capable, that it is still strong. Calcium is widely known as the mineral that strengthens bones. And while that's true, it only scratches the surface of its power, because the calcium is also essential for how your muscles move, how your nerves fire, and how your body restores itself while you sleep. For seniors whose bodies have spent decades in service, walking, lifting, healing, calcium becomes less about building mass and more about preserving function, especially during those quiet, dark hours when the body attempts to repair what the day has worn down. What many people don't realize is that calcium not just stored in bones, it's an active player in the bloodstream, and it's critical to muscle contraction. When a nerve sends a signal to a muscle to move your leg, to flex your foot, even to shift positions in bed, calcium is released to initiate that contraction. But without sufficient, the signaling becomes erratic. Muscles tighten without instruction or fail to relax when they should. That misfire is what can create the sudden, painful spasm we experience as a nighttime leg cramp. But here's the deeper truth: calcium doesn't work alone. It requires balance. It relies on magnesium to help muscles relax after contraction. It depends on vitamin D to be absorbed from the gut into the bloodstream. It needs vitamin K2 to be properly deposited into bones and not soft tissues. So calcium's role in preventing leg cramps and in building overnight recovery is not just about how much you consume, but how intelligently your body is supported to use it. And this is where food becomes not just nutrition, but strategy. Yogurt, kefir, and hard cheeses provide bioavailable calcium paired with natural fats and probiotics, which support digestion and absorption. Leafy greens like kale, bok choy, and broccoli offer calcium in a low-acid form that's gentle on aging stomachs. Sardines and canned salmon, bones included, deliver a rare trifecta, vitamin D, and omega-3s to reduce muscle inflammation. Even fortified plant milks can be useful and consumed with a meal that includes some fat for better absorption. But the key is rhythm. The body doesn't rebuild during the day. It rebuilds at night. During deep sleep stages, your brain slows down, your body temperature drops, and your tissues enter a state of repair. Calcium supports not only your muscles, but your nervous system during this window of renewal. Adequate calcium before bed may reduce nighttime cramps by supporting this delicate interplay between nerve and muscle, contraction and release. That must be finely tuned for healing to occur. And as we age, calcium is lost more easily. Hormonal shifts, medications, reduced appetite, and declining stomach acid can all contribute to lower calcium levels, even when dietary intake appears sufficient. That's why being intentional, not just eating enough, but eating smartly, becomes the foundation of nighttime recovery. You're not just avoiding cramps, you're rebuilding what life has worn down. You're giving your cells the raw materials they need to restore energy, strength, and coordination. How do we? You're telling your muscles they can rest because you've nourished them well enough to recover. Hydration is far more than just drinking water. It's the ongoing orchestration of fluids and electrolytes within every cell, every muscle fiber, every nerve pathway that keeps your body supple, responsive, and pain-free. For seniors, hydration plays a silent yet central role in preventing muscle cramps, especially at night when fluid levels naturally drop and circulation slows. But the story doesn't end with a glass of water. Hydration has nuance. Hydration has chemistry. Hydration has a flavor. And in nature, watermelon, cucumber, and other hydrating foods speak this fluent healing language. Watermelon is over 90% water, but its magic isn't just in moisture. It contains potassium, magnesium, and the amino acid citrulline, which helps improve blood flow. That matters because cramps are often the result of poor circulation and imbalanced electrolytes. When your blood doesn't deliver enough nutrients to your muscles, they tighten, seize, and cramp when you eat foods like water. But when you food melon, you're not just like hydrating, you're infusing your bloodstream with nutrients that allow muscles to release tension and stay relaxed. Even while you sleep, cucumbers offer a similar gift. Crisp, cool, and subtly sweet, they hydrate at the cellular level while delivering silica and antioxidants that support connective tissue. Their high water content helps flush toxins, reduce inflammation, and maintain the mineral balance required for normal muscle function. And because they're so easy to digest, they can be consumed in the evening without disrupting sleep, unlike some heavier meals or large volumes of water that may lead to nighttime trips to the bathroom. The truth is, hydrating with food offers a slower, more sustained release of fluid into the body, one that doesn't just pass through the system, but is actually absorbed and utilized. Leafy greens, citrus fruits, strawberries, tomatoes, and peppers all carry structured water, surrounded by minerals and plant compounds that support deeper hydration than water alone. These foods contribute to your total hydration in a way that is often more effective than simply drinking more water, especially when your body's thirst signals become less reliable with age. And let's not forget sodium, a mineral that often gets misunderstood. Small, balanced amounts of natural sodium from whole foods or sea salt help your body retain hydration rather than excreting it too quickly. Without adequate sodium, how do we? You can drink all the water in the world and still remain dehydrated at the cellular level. A dangerous setup for overnight cramping. That's why pairing hydrating fruits and vegetables with mineral-rich options like olives, pickled vegetables, or bone broth can dramatically improve hydration status. Hydration also affects the fascia, the connective tissue that wraps around muscles. When you're well hydrated, fascia glides smoothly, reducing tension and preventing the sudden stiffness that contributes to leg cramps. But when you're dehydrated, fascia becomes sticky tight and more prone to locking up at night. So when you bite into a piece of watermelon or slice cucumber into your salad, you're not just refreshing your palate, you're lubricating your entire musculoskeletal system. Dopamine, you're giving your legs the hydration they need not only to move freely, but to rest deeply.